everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys, this is a topic that I've wanted to discuss for a long time, and also, I guess you could say on top of that, is a topic that I know other people have wanted to see happen and would fulfill a lot of childhood dreams of ours if this actually happened and Konami did this. And that is actually building dueling fields. Now, yes, I'm talking, ever since we were kids, we've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! In like 3D, card game type of thing. And what I mean by that is, originally we had the dueling fields and, Duelist Kingdom, these big fields they had. Then we had the dual discs, and then I guess you could say on through the years we kept seeing different versions of the dual discs, different types of dual discs, be it the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime to the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX era, 5Ds, even Zexal, and even now they still have versions of the dual disc. They may have changed, but they're all dual discs, and it's something that I know a lot of us have wanted to see be created eventually in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I read an article recently where apparently a company was trying to actually create dual discs or dual arenas, quote unquote, for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. Now, this is something that I've always, and me and my friends have always talked about, like I said earlier. And it's a topic that I've actually kind of been surprised. Granted, looking at Konami's games that they have created for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, and just in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, the video games they created, granted they've created some very good ones and okay ones, but if you get where I'm going with that, it doesn't surprise me, yet it does surprise me that they haven't pursued this. Maybe they don't have the technology, but I would think with today's technology, they would be able to do something of this nature. And that is create dual arenas. Konami is Konami Entertainment. They do delve into with video games. Granted, I'm not going to go into details about Metal Gear Solid and all that stuff, what happened with Kojima and things of that nature. That is not what this video is about. But if you get what I'm saying, with their background, you would think they would have come up with something type of dueling field or dueling pads or something. And I've always thought, how cool would it be if, at Worlds one year, or just for example, just take this hypothetically. Imagine at Nationals for Europe, for the US, and other countries out there. The big countries. No offense to my little friends out there, but the big countries, blocks, the UK and the Europe circuit, where they actually unveiled this. Or better yet, unveil it at Worlds, where you have you make at the finals. So just imagine like maybe the top 4 at Worlds, or because Worlds is such a small event, or the finals at Worlds. You actually create this. You actually have a duel that's holographic, where you have your little, you activate the card and an effect happens. You summon the monster and a little tiny version of 3D monster, pops out, and that it attacks. It can be basic movements like it has a sword, maybe it attacks with a sword. So for example, let's use Cosmos, okay? So imagine they summon Cosmo Dark Destroyer. Cosmo's Dark Destroyer attacks, so it attacks with lasers. So you just see little teeny like pew pew, lasers come out of the little ship that's floating on the field. Just little basic things. They could do this like with 2 pads, they slide together. There's a whole bunch of different ways I could think of them doing this. They don't have to make dual discs. And granted, I know people would say, well, if they actually made 3D holographic cards, that would make the paper cards, useless, utterly useless, and I understand that, and I think that may be one of the reasons why they've never pursued it necessarily. But I think thinking as an alternative game, possibly, that could be a thing. Granted, the card have a chip, so when it's activated, it actually goes off. Would probably make the card, that thick, a half an inch maybe thick. But I think for just like special events, that'd be perfectly plausible. They have the representatives, all around, they have to do deck checks of the final players, okay, let's look at your deck, okay, you got, these 40 cards, this extra deck, okay, let's program these cards in, so when you do activate them, they have little effects that pop up on the field. It would be kind of cool to see, and I think it's very plausible in different forms and in different incarnations. I wish Konami would do it. I would hope Konami would do it. Granted, I see some obstacles and hurdles. Like I said, this would not be something where, we, maybe the regular Joe Smo on the street, could do this. But for special events like Worlds and maybe Nationals, maybe in that Final Four, the top four with the final match, they actually implemented this. It would be so awesome. And I mean, there's different ways you could do it. It doesn't have to be, like CG, 3D graphics, oh my gosh, like the PlayStation 4 and whatnot. It doesn't have to be that. It could just be a freaking little teeny holographic thing about, that tall. And I would be so happy if they actually did that. That's all I'm asking. It doesn't need to be like, maybe they think, oh, we have to live up to these standards, like, the show and everything, the original Yu-Gi-Oh show and whatnot. No, it doesn't even have to be like that. It could just be simple graphics. And I think the Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there would just go bananas over this, first off. And I think the community would be like, oh my gosh. And it would, honestly, in some regards, possibly. Granted, it's very hard to get to a Nationals or top of the Worlds or Nationals to some degree. It would give players something to strive for, even at these OTS events they have, which they have, they don't have a lot of players there. It could be something that you do in the final round of that, or at events you stream at, the final, YCS match could be a 3D holographic thing. It could be something that players in the future, after they showcased it, could look forward to, hey, I want a type of YCS event because I actually want to play with 3D Yu-Gi-Oh monsters and some of them on the field like the original show. And I know, no matter how competitive you are in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, you can't admit that would be freaking badass to actually see that happen. You can't tell me that. If you love Yu-Gi-Oh at any amount of level and grew up watching any of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, no matter what it is, what you think of the anime now, whatever, you can't tell me that would be some badass stuff to, summon it. I would love it, to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon and just see a miniature Blue Eyes White Dragon pop up and just hear that crawl like, argh! It can be the worst dragon imitation ever, I don't care. But just to see it on the field and I'm like, oh my gosh, I freaking just really summoned a Blue Eyes White Dragon. My mind would explode with happiness and my heart would be like, bucket list checked. Check something off my bucket list. So tell me what you think about this. Do you think it is plausible that Konami eventually one day in the future could do this? Or some company could do this? 3, what problems could you see with creating this? Granted, like I said before, I don't think this would be a mass, like everybody gets a dual disc type of deal. Not yet. I don't think technology is that far ahead. Maybe in 10 years, possibly, or 5 years. With technology advancing how much it has already, even since when I was younger, 10 years ago, maybe in 5 years this will happen. We don't know. But what I'm just trying to say is I can't see, it would have to, maybe it could be, I can't see the card. There's got to be a way to work it out, is what I'm trying to say. And what ways could you see it working, and what are some problems you could see the interface with cards and the actual graphics appearing or happening. So what could you see the problems be, and how could you fix those problems? And would you be really excited to actually see this happen? I would love to see it happen, and that's just me. But I would love to hear your thoughts on it, guys, and hear with maybe some of my more techie subscribers out there that know more about computer animation and stuff of that nature and computer games could actually maybe come up with an idea. How plausible is it, to actually come up with something? Granted, you have to say, like at these big events, they do have players. They know what's in their hand. They know what's coming. They know, basic Yu-Gi-Oh tells you that, okay, we do deck checks. We know what your 40 card deck is. We implement the graphics. It's not that hard. So even when you just summon it, even though it may not register, you can activate that effect. So I'm just saying, it can be very slow, time thing. It doesn't have to be like amazing, like I said, but how would you implement it? I would love to hear your thoughts on that from you guys, especially. But till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.